My name is John Roper. I like making music. It's a selfish act. I enjoy it. I get pleasure from it. When I complete something, it feels like I accomplished something. I enjoy it. This is music that goes back to 1957 when I started. It's sort of a retrospective of everything I've done. In the 57, I started as a doo-wop, rhythm and blues. We picked it up because we could imitate it. We could do it. It was something that we could perform ourselves on a street corner and duplicate, whereas you couldn't duplicate the big singers at the time. You couldn't duplicate Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, but you could duplicate doo-wop. It wasn't called doo-wop, but that's what we did. I got most of my pleasure out of arranging the music. At first it was just copying what was being done, but then as time went on, I started to change. I started to do a little different here, a little different there. I started to learn more about music itself. I started to use different chords. I started to make arrangements a little bit different, so when people, nowadays when I sing something from the old days, people hear it and they say, oh, I know that, but there was a little surprise over here, there's a little surprise over there. It just livens things up a little bit. If you sing with the same people for a long time, it's like a marriage. Your voices sort of blend together to the extent where everyone bends towards the other guy's note and it sounds like one voice. Making music and doing sculpture are very much alike, but in some degree they're different. There's immense enjoyment in music, every aspect of it, from beginning to end. Sculpture, it's a great enjoyment, but it becomes tedious. There's a lot of labor involved, a lot of physical labor involved. And once the design is created, and now you're trying to cover that design. I could see the design before anybody else does, but I have to put metal around it so you could see it. So the process of putting the metal around that image is tedious. It's hard work. And sometimes it's hours and hours of standing in one spot, just doing a texture and pushing a texture across a piece. And it's tedious. But the end result is if I accomplish what I went out to do, is put that metal around that image that I saw, and you can see it, it's all worth it. My whole life has been music and sculpture, and my whole life has been a joy. From the time I started music in 1957, and the time I started sculpture was probably 1953, when I was in school for industrial arts, and I saw the instructor in a ceramics class play with a piece of microcrystalline paste, wax, and in 2 seconds he made an antelope jumping over a tree. And I stood there amazed. I watched his hands, and I said, I want to do that. And that's how I started with the sculpture. It's been a great life, been a great trip, and when I get to the last stop, I'm going to have a big smile on my face.